I've basically just been playing games since I can remember. Like when I was a kid, before I'd go to school every day, me and my dad would play Ocarina of Time and Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, like before we went to work every day, and then I'd come home and I'd play, and then like I would just play more than him, and then I get better than him, and then he'd get really mad, and then he like wouldn't want to play, but he still played with me because I was a kid, so that was fun. And ever since then, I've just basically been playing games my whole life. So what brought me into like competitive Smite is, it was a game that I was playing a lot at the time, basically at the same rate at which I was playing WoW previously, but it was a newer game, so like I kind of knew people also playing as much as I was. We would just party up and I would play with them. I'm like, oh, there's a game I can get better at and continue to do well at as long as I put in the time. And I just really enjoyed playing against other people who were doing the same thing. They're like, yeah, no, we want to win. And like, no, I want to win. Like, and it kind of made everyone better. And I really just enjoyed competing with people. Even when I was playing, like, and trying to get better, like, and improve, at that time, I was just kind of improving at a game until I was on one team, or I tried out for a team. I'm like, oh, this is like weird. Like, I haven't really been on a team before where like there's 5 people trying to get better and improve. But no, I really didn't expect it to go this way.
He's got beautiful positioning this time around, but that's because Luminosity are way deep in the enemy jungle. Over the wall goes Venenu, and Cope is able to get one to start it, but Jeff answers right on back, taking down Weekend.
Realistically, how we got to this point is it was a lot of hard work. So there was a bunch of roster swaps throughout the end of the season, and it ended up with me and BaRRa, and then Scary, and then Mass, and then we picked up Xeno, and ever since then, everyone just has been working super crazy hard and like trying to pick up on every mistake they make.
The difference between the teams from this year and last year is the amount of effort and the drive that everyone has. It's almost like it's just a completely different set, right? Like everyone's really hungry to win. That's all we want. We don't care about anything else inside a game, outside a game, other than winning and being the best. The MVP of our team is BaRRaCCuDDa. He's beautiful and I love him.
He's the person I've been on a team with for years. He's basically family to me. Like, we've done so much that together that other people don't ever get the chance to do. I could talk to him about anything, in game, out of game, about Smite, not about Smite. We just hang out outside of the scrims and stuff. When Orbit was playing, I went and I watched the games. I'm like, well, this is it. Like, I guess they could take us to Worlds, which is crazy. Like, it's so weird that you can go, or that this situation kind of unfolded where you were able to go, but not because you had won a game. It feels weird, like having lost the game and then still having a chance of being moved forward. Sitting in the stands watching, and like every time a play was happening, I was like, oh, that's Guan Yu, baby, that's Guan Yu. Like, Zelia was farming, like Trix was farming, Lobster was stealing objectives, and like it was really exciting to watch, because it was exciting and weird because like I didn't have control over it, but it still affected me so much. I've known those guys for so long, so it was nice to be able to hang out with them, and they also just basically, they were like, hey, you guys get to play again, like, we love you, and I'm like, I love you too, thank you so much. So, I don't know, Orbit's amazing.
I believe in the Bible, I believe in the Torah, and I believe in the Quran. Yep.
There it is. Congratulations, man. I'll see you in January.
Yes.
Well, if there's one thing I believe in, it's that man right there, JeffHindla. That's right, this dude is awesome, and I can't wait to see this squad play. But you know what? I had to get some more class on the desk, and I had to boot Anatoly. So luckily for me, we ended up getting someone quite nice joining us here, and Funballer. Let's go, Taco Funballer. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty good. Pretty happy to be here, and even more excited getting to see this game, especially after that video of Jeff.
Happy to take them to Worlds, and hopefully we'll see a good game.
Yeah, it definitely should be a great matchup. So for those of you who are not aware, coming up next, it's going to be SoaR versus Luminosity Gaming. This is a matchup of the Titans, Taco.
I think it's really interesting, especially because of the fact that you're having Luminosity with teammates like BaRRa and Jeff going against some of their former teammates, you know, with Andinster, Snoopy, and I think that it's just really interesting overall in how they're going to try and pull this together to show who's like on top.
Yeah, and it definitely sucks playing against old teammates. I've done that as well against Dignitas. And it just, you know, the feels is there, and you still want to win at the end of the day. You just want to get that win.
Yeah, and I think it's also really interesting. You can see how we're jumping straight into the picks and bans and everything, but Luminosity opting to go ahead and take away that comfort pick of Thor from Andinster, which I think is a really smart decision for them. You know, they definitely don't want to try and allow SoaR, especially with the way that the invade has been going all day to day, they don't want to allow them to try and use that against them.
Yeah, and Andinster's previous game where he played Thor, his early game wasn't as great, but when he turned up in the mid game, that's when they started, you know, winning the team fights.
Yeah, and you can tell Terra, not really much of a surprise there, seeing that one get banned away. That's pretty notorious in NA for not being permitted, considering how much of control that she gives in the team fights.
Yeah, and you saw JeffHindla as well before. He picked it, he dominated, they had the global presence, and I think Luminosity is going to look for the Janus again for Xenotronics, because usually when he plays in lands, he usually feels a bit nervous, so we'll see that, you know, this time.
Yeah, definitely putting Xeno on a comfort pick is an excellent decision, but at the same time, I would be pretty surprised if Luminosity didn't try and opt for a Jing just because of the fact that she's such an excellent ADC, especially on BaRRaCCuDDa. But you can see here the Janus with calls, so I think that's pretty interesting to say the least. That, I mean, Xeno's going to be cozy, but as far as SoaR, I'm not sure they're going to be as comfortable.
No, I think SoaR might actually pick the Roma instead of the Jing and give BaRRaCCuDDa the Jing. Because Snoopy, his Roma, he's played it mid lane, he's played it dual lane, he's amazing at it.
Or he might try and use the Soul against BaRRa as well. That's something that he's also pretty cozy on. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if the Jing came through and everything, considering the fact that I think a lot of teams just appreciate the laning pressure that she can provide, and it just makes it so easy for her to come in and out of these engagements, which I think will be really important considering the Janus on Luminosity.
Also, they do keep that Jing away from BaRRaCCuDDa, which we saw in that last game what he was capable of doing. He shredded Happy, so they had no chance against them.
Yeah, and they also took away JeffHindla's Sobek hovering over the Carly and Loki there. Don't know if that's a bit of a troll, but Mass has actually played Carly before.
As soon as you see that smirk on his face, you can just tell that he's probably not going to go through with it. Mass is somebody who can definitely pull out a pocket pick like the Kali, but I think it's just so much better for them to go ahead with the Ratatoskr. This is definitely a very familiar god for Mass, and I know that he personally loves it because he really likes the ability that he has to engage so sneakily with the Rat ultimate. I mean, it can be really deadly as well, considering that they already have the global presence from the Janus ultimate.
Yeah, and Mass is not talked about that much, actually, to be honest. In the jungle, especially with Xenotronics, this LAN, when they played against China, they had a really good synergy, which they didn't have at Super Regionals, but they're looking like a new team, and with the role swap with Snoopy and Metyankey, you know, that could be something that SoaR needs to take care of.
Yeah, I think that this will be a really good establishment point as well for SoaR, considering that most recent role swap. So if Snoopy and Metyankey can find their stride in a game against a team like Luminosity, I think it would be really, really interesting seeing if Lumi are going to be able to retaliate, basically, because it is a bit of a switch up, considering that BaRRa isn't as accustomed to playing against Snoopy's playstyle anymore, and Snoopy is one of those, you don't know if he's going to come out passive or if he's going to come out aggressive. It really all depends. I imagine with the Jing, he's probably going to be a little bit more cautious against BaRRa's Soul, because BaRRa is known to be a really aggressive hunter, especially with Soul.
Yeah. Now, speaking about this raw pick, do you think it's a good pick against the Janus or no?
I personally don't think that they're really considering the aspect of the 1v1 mage matchup as much as they're considering the team fighting aspect. You can tell that they want to go ahead and try and get an initiation combo, and Sobek plug into like a Jingwei knockup with her one, and then a raw beam or snipe. That's a lot of setup already coming out for Metyankey, which I think is very important considering that healer compositions benefit the longer that team fights go on. So it's a pretty safe pick in my opinion.
Yeah, and Metyankey's known for its raw. That's what he's been playing since the beginning of Smite, sorry. And do you think the Soul pick into the raw was smart for team fights, or do you think the raw can out-heal the Soul damage?
I think that Soul is just something that BaRRa is really known for, and he's an incredibly gifted player. So permitting him with the Soul, I think it could be a little bit of a problem for SoaR in that he's going to have an easier time maneuvering in and out of these team fights, which will be really important.
You can't let BaRRaCCuDDa have any kind of breathing room whatsoever, or else he will take advantage of those opportunities there. And another lock coming in here. What do we have now, Taco?
I think that it's pretty interesting that SoaR is going for the Nemesis, considering how much mobility Luminosity already has on their end. So SoaR are definitely looking for the one-shot wombo combo between the Nemesis ult, Ra ult, and Sobek setup. And I think that it's a great response by Luminosity to go ahead for the Amaterasu. So it's going to be an interesting team fight scenario, because the longer that the fights go on, you would think that it would benefit SoaR. Jeff going with that Geb, which I am really excited to see, because Jeff is probably one of my favorite supports to watch due to the fact that he is such a vocal person, and you just know that he's going to be calling out nonstop.
Yeah, and Jeff's Geb is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to have those shields. He's going to have everything ready to go.
This has been a very interesting draft here, and if you had to kind of tip your hat in one direction, guys, and you know, Fun, we'll start with you. Who do you think takes this one?
I think Luminosity. I want them to win. I want them to go to World to get the first place.
Yeah, well, luckily they are at Worlds, and who knows? It could very well be possible. What about you, Taco?
I would have to give it to Luminosity based off those drafts.
Oh, boy. All righty. Well, this is going to be a good one, folks. Who comes out on top? It is a clash of the Titans, and it's so fitting for the battleground of the gods. Will it be SoaR? Will it be Luminosity Gaming to go ahead and drive us through all the action? Let's go ahead and send you over to our commentators.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy. And obviously, I'm going to be joined by Aggro and Trix Tank. And Trix, you brought Luminosity here. You know, you heard Jeff say it earlier on today.
A little tear.
Are you happy with the draft?
I am happy with the draft. If they get to the late game, I really believe Luminosity is going to win this game.
Yeah, what about you, Aggro?
It's going to be close, though, because I love the fact that SoaR took Jing away from BaRRaCCuDDa. We saw how impactful he was on that, and Metyankey looked very, very good on that Ra. It's up to, for me, it's between those two. That role swap for SoaR. How well can Metyankey work with Andinster as his mid laner? How well can Snoopy work with Jigz in lane? Because we know that the laning phase of JeffHindla and BaRRaCCuDDa is extremely strong.
The Ra and SoaR's draft is really important, and now when Luminosity have the Janus to run him down, I actually think Luminosity might be able to win this.
That's a great point, because that's what you pick Janus against Ra for, is you want to be able to just bring your whole team into his grill. It's tough to operate.
He needs to be a little bit careful there. I just thought Baskin might slip round behind him early on. But look at the early ward placements down by both teams already. All focused on the right-hand side of the map. Majority here, 4 wards deep from SoaR on the right-hand side.
In both of these teams' first games, we saw the support on the right-hand side right away. We saw a successful invade for Luminosity with the help of JeffHindla, and an unsuccessful one for SoaR. So it'll be interesting to see if that's exactly what they're going to keep doing. Leave BaRRaCCuDDa and Snoopy on their island over in the Hunter role, or if they're going to do the more traditional duo lane sort of style.
It seems like both know the really early aggressiveness both teams are usually having, so now they're both like taking it a passive way or another way. We see the Ra in the duel.
Yeah, look where Metyankey is right now on the left-hand side of your map. You can see there's some sort of shenanigans going over there, but there is also on the right-hand side from Luminosity, masked JeffHindla have arrived alongside ScaryD to look for the speed, and it looks like SoaR will surrender it, but on the left it's a different story.
BaRRaCCuDDa's in trouble, but they're gonna let him go. Instead decided to secure the red buff. Very disciplined play there from SoaR.
And look at the other side of the map as well. SoaR also going to invade the speed buff here too. Meanwhile, Luminosity going to have to take the speed and blue. So far, this is working out well for SoaR, I want to say.
Such a good play by SoaR. They recognize they're invading their speed buff, so they could just go behind them and straight to their speed buff. Such a good play.
And now Jigz is actually going to hold those left side mid harpies so that Metyankey can get them and the wave at the same time. He will also be getting this wave because he's close enough to get that extra experience. Really heads up play by Jigz right now.
So those left harpies are going to go down soon. It takes a while for Jigz, but with Met's heal over the wall, he should be fine. Right-hand side, because the Andinster started these harpies on his own, but Jeff rolling in, looking for some pressure. The actually forcing him towards Mass, and now Andy, bit of trouble here. The damage coming through from the Janus really hit home.
The fact that Xenotronics was still only level 1 there was very important. Snoopy and BaRRaCCuDDa boxing on the left-hand side. Snoopy back to the ADC role, and he looks pretty comfortable already.
They both look like they were very happy to trade that one off there. Pretty much even between the two. Obviously, in Sol's kit, she does have a bit of a sustain there, so that can come into play.
But you also see more, you have the lifesteal from Destol and from the Spike Gauntlet for Jing, and then you only have 1 health pot on each side, so pretty even trade.
There's been so much fighting going on, but I think right now both teams are looking to like get a steady ground and now play a real game, and that the early aggressiveness stay away.
And when you think about it, both these teams have played today so far, but here comes JeffHindla again to the right-hand side, looking for a bit of pressure onto Baskin there. Baskin recognizes the danger, and Jeff just off the mark with that rollout.
Another game where JeffHindla doesn't see the duo lane for a significant portion of time, and I think this is a very conscious choice by Luminosity. They want to make sure that SoaRD is going to be okay in lane against Baskin.
I think what it comes down to in this game is going to be Snoopy rotating with his passive, because SoaR really have no global ability, so he will be able to out-rotate SoaR.
And in the Allegiance game, we saw that Oceans was doing a good job of rotating around the map, but a little bit too much there as far as that rotation goes. We saw Sleep Tight just basically sit in lane and continue to farm, whereas Oceans was all over the map.
Well, now it's Mass' turn to come over and say hello to Baskin as well, and Baskin has to deal with two of them for now, but a very good group up of the enemy, and then just charge back through to the safety of his tower.
But
this is two waves now that SoaRD has split, and it's about to be a third. Mass is about to stay over here for yet another wave, and all these waves Baskin has gotten solo.
But the dash is down for a second or two here, and the silence is good. Baskin takes some pressure, but instead, they focus on hitting level 5 and staying topped up, and here comes an ult from Mass.
They're looking at the Gremlins right now. It comes crashing down, hits 2, Andinster, no beat, but a snipe!
Big snipe coming out from Metyankey, and now the follow-up is here too. Good ult response there from JeffHindla to slow them down, and SoaRD just zoning back. But SoaRD, he got first blood against China, and he gets first blood against SoaR as well.
And the fact that Andinster's beads were down, he got CC chained there so much. Xenotronics still wasn't 5, but they're able to find the first blood.
And this is because Mask is holding so much pressure onto Baskin, so he can't rotate. So basically, he was out of that fight, so it was a 4v3. Very well played.
And even with the great snipe from Metyankey, like Trix mentioned, the fact that Baskin had to stay in lane a little bit longer, and then he didn't have the Wrath available. Maybe if he has Wrath, you can create a little bit of extra space for Andinster there. Instead, Andinster still also level 4.
Well, we also have to realize that SoaR Gaming have 2 Hots on the team, so they might look for early rotation over to go for you and take that instantly.
Yeah, keep an eye with those Wraths later on, but this time around, Luminosity will get their own jungle on this right-hand side. Their speed and blue buff have been secured. And one thing I was alluding to a little bit earlier on is Luminosity and SoaR have both played today. SoaR against the Brazilian team that they struggled against early, and that's exactly the same story here, it seems. Luminosity, meanwhile, they kind of had a free-flowing game there against China, but they're still looking good.
I feel like SoaR's really not too confident in the early game of the state, but when they get to the mid game, the late game, they're just so strong and such a good team.
And that just comes from the fact that even though there's been a role swap, these 5 players have still played together for a long time, and these are 5 very skilled players mechanically, and most of them are pretty tenured in the scene as well. Metyankey, not quite as much. He was around last season. Jigz was a coach for TSM, but guys like Snoopy, Baskin, Andinster, they've been around forever.
It's actually really interesting seeing Metyankey in mid. I really didn't think he was too good, but he's doing a great job so far.
Yeah, that snipe early on in this game already showed that he knows what he's going to do in this mid lane role, right? And the Elementals are about to spawn now around the Fire Giant, and it looks like Luminosity will get them as well.
And whenever you're forced into a new role like Metyankey has been, the fact that he gets to play 2 games in a row on the same god is definitely a good thing for him, because you want to be in your comfort zone. Whenever you first switch roles, your comfort zone won't be as big, and the fact that he's able to just double up on this raw, you can see how well it's working out for him.
And once again, we see Snoopy building a small lead onto BaRRaCCuDDa. He's doing such a great job going to the ADC role,
yeah,
really.
Snoopy seems just confident, back to his best over in that Hunter role, really. Nothing really crazy.
Did he ever leave it? Like, he played Rama mid.
That's a good point, right? Really.
Mid,
I mean, it was
like,
just Rama every game.
Exactly.
But now, I like the idea of making sure they get Jing away for themselves, though, because when I looked at picks and bans for myself, it felt like they were taking away from each other a lot of the times, and the picks and bans not wanting to give away comfort to their opposition.
At Super Regionals, these two faced off. SoaR definitely looked like the stronger team, but the one time the Luminosity won, it's whenever Xenotronics got the Janus, and they took it away from Snoopy whenever he was the mid laner.
And there's a bit of damage in the mid lane there onto Metyankey, but he'll be able to heal that back up for now. It's all really focused into the junglers here. They're the ones that will really dictate the pace of this game.
And that's why you expect LG to kind of have the pressure in the early game, because Ratatoskr significantly better earlier on than Nemesis.
Focus onto Baskin again. He's looking to charge away, but the ultimate from SoaRD does not find the stun. Here is Jigz, though, with a very good block onto SoaRD, and he's surrounded. He's trying to get out, and the dash is blocked away. Yankee gets credit for the kill. It was a good ult from Jeff, but it wasn't good enough.
Just not enough follow-up, because you're sitting in lane right now. Mass is going to be able to get a 2-man knockup, but now he's in trouble as well.
And now Mass goes down. Little bit too much there from the jungler, and SoaR claimed 2 lives in 1 engagement on the solo lane.
Way too aggressive coming out for Luminosity there. SoaRD uses ult really early, and then the counter gank comes in, and they collapse on it really well, and they get the kill. After that, they just heal up, and I have no idea why Matt jumped in.
The China game for Luminosity, Xenotronics hit level 5 and immediately used through space and time to get to the duo lane, and they get a kill out of it. We're sitting 6 minutes in, Xeno's level 7, and we haven't seen a single ult from him yet. Instead of walking over to that right lane, why not portal your whole team in there.
Now, not only did they get the kills there, SoaR, but if you actually look at the towers and how things went down, you saw BaRRaCCuDDa transition to mid lane to try and get involved in that fight if it continued. Meanwhile, Snoopy stayed in duo, and he actually poked that tower down to half health already. Frustrating.
And SoaR's doing really good right now, just staying grouped with the Ra, because if the Ra gets out of position in the jungle, they're going to Janus ult it, and that's why we haven't seen the Janus ult so far, because they're basically playing group, fighting with each other, and that's what they should keep doing, otherwise they're going to get caught out.
And that's exactly what you have to do against Janus, because like you said, that's what they're looking for. We saw it earlier on in Super Regionals, we saw it against China. As soon as they see you on a ward, you'll be seeing LG place deep wards around buffs. If you go to clear back camps by yourself, you're going to eat it through space.
Well, Snoopy was a little bit out of position there, and BaRRaCCuDDa was trying to punish him for it, but instead he ate as good as he got back in response.
But then again, it's not a really good position SoaR's in right now. They have 2 Hawks, they're 1 relic down late game, and if you don't use the Hawk early game to get that lead, you're 1 relic down.
That's true. That's a great point. And you can see that it's been the shell picked up for JeffHindla. So if they can really force these engagements whenever you know Jigz doesn't have that shell, we see how impactful that is.
But it's a little bit too early there for Xeno to find a mark. But I'll tell you what they will do. They catch Jigz out, the crowd roars, and now Snoopy's in a bit of an awkward spot, but it is a Jing way.
That was the perfect through space in time. You said a little early, and it looked like it, but that's exactly, it's not to hit damage. It's just to get the portals, and then he pulps through, and then hits 3 people with that unstable vortex, and that's what I love to see from Xenotronics. No hesitation. Whenever he starts to get in his own head, that's when the problems start.
That was so naughty, to be honest. Every single one of them went into the portal at the same time and just collapsed on him, stun-locked him, and he had nothing to do.
And that was a Sobek too. I mean, generally Sobek's a little bit tanky. You know, they've got a lot of escape ability to just buy himself a moment to get out, and he couldn't.
No shell. No shell. We saw how important that was whenever Jigz was playing Ymir up against the Poseidon. He was shelling Krakens. It just tickles them without it.
But then again, even if he had shell, like, he would be stun-locked before he even would be able to do it. The gap is so good here, actually.
Oh, it's a good adaptation from Luminosity here, because obviously they've been focusing a lot onto Baskin so far in the solo lane. That's not really worked out for them. Baskin himself, still level 11, equal 1-0-1 so far, not died in this game, whereas on the left-hand side of the map, finding that play there really helped them out.
Yeah, and even though the fact that we saw how many waves SoaRD was splitting, he's basically even in net worth with Baskin right now, despite Baskin not having a death and that additional assist.
Yeah, and usually we see Vamana actually ahead versus an Amaterasu early game, so I'm actually interested why Baskin is behind.
Well, he's not behind now. He's just got that little bit of a level here, but here's the Gold Fury, and it's already gone.
Double Hawk.
Trixank called for it, and Trixank got it. Free Gold Fury the way of SoaR, and you can see by the graphs, it's ever so slightly in the lead of SoaR now.
Just so much damage out of nowhere, basically. Metyankey didn't even have to use that Raw Snipe, which we usually see mid-lane mages do to get that Gold Fury into execute range.
It literally takes 5 seconds. Even if they had a ward, they wouldn't be able to walk in at the same time as they did, so they would do it instantly.
And the fact that Baskin had just hit level 12 and was able to come in with that teleport, we saw them place the ward down. There was a ward there from Luminosity. Who cares? You just teleport Baskin in, you double Wrath the Gold Fury, and it's for free. Now speed buff being picked up right there. Mass on this right-hand side still, actually down a level right now to Andinster, who has just finished his Hydra's Lament. That's a good sign, because like we were saying, Mass on this Ratatoskr should have the early game advantage. He's definitely the earlier game character, and on this Nemesis, he can't do it as well.
Well, Baskin there on the right-hand side getting dealt with by Jeff for a second. The right-hand Harpies are contested there for the time being. They're going to go the way of SoaR as well, and this is exactly what we kind of saw in the game that they played earlier on. SoaR, they got behind early, but then when it starts to hit this sort of 10-minute mark mid-game, they start to pick up pace here.
Even though they picked up the double Hawk and they have really an early game build, they still lost the early game, but it seems like they're coming back to mid-game.
Well, SoaRD's a little bit out of position here, surrounded by 4. Now, there is a portal down, and here comes reinforcements, but Jeff's ult was not the best overall, but SoaRD still finds an exit strategy for now. Mass in the sky, looks towards Jigz, good stun onto him. A little bit more damage, and the Sobek could fall down here, but he will get back to the safety of his tier 1 tower.
Just seemed like they wanted to get out, and then Mass is saying, no, we can kill Jigz, we can kill Jigz, but everyone else is already too worried about getting out. But SoaRD's gonna find him!
With the lazy back, that's what you get. And now Luminosity, they can look for the tier 1.
So earlier on, we saw Mass make a bad decision, go in, get killed for free. This time, Jigz makes the bad decision, lazy back under the tower, SoaRD picks him up.
That's a typical trick tank move right there. Lazy back and dying, good game. Sorry, team.
Well, Jigz just did the same thing there, but hopefully can find a way back into it for now. But that does even things up once more, at least in terms of the goal between these two teams so far. And Snoopy and BaRRa, I mean, we've been tuning into them. and they're quite happy to trade, but no one's doing anything too crazy just yet.
This is going to be interesting because LG sitting there saying, okay, we know once we get to the late game, BaRRaCCuDDa is going to come up big for us. He could absolutely be our late game carry win condition towards the end of the game, but is that trust there for SoaR with Snoopy? You know, Snoopy, like you said, Trix, he's played Hunters for a long time. Even when he went to mid, he played Hunter, but he's still fairly new to that role. Only 2.5 weeks of practice there. It'll be interesting to see that dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, the complete late game might be a little bit different for SoaR. Maybe they lack a little bit of synergy, but we don't know yet. Maybe it'll go ahead of the Luminosity. Who knows?
Well, in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see the net worth of the two Hunters right now, at least BaRRaCCuDDa and Snoopy, and it's pretty close between the two, and I think that's going to stay the whole way, even when you take into account one of them did get a gold fury, and that was Snoopy.
Well, it tells me by SoaR's playstyle that they do trust Snoopy to come in and carry in the late game because they've left him completely alone on this side. They're willing to give BaRRaCCuDDa that free farm, which usually SoaR doesn't want to do. Though in their matchup against Luminosity at Super Regionals, we saw Metyankey as the Hunter. His job was to just sit under tower and not die to BaRRaCCuDDa. That's how hot BaRRaCCuDDa is right now, and you just don't want to fight him in lane.
Well, it looks like SoaR looking around this speed buff area of Luminosity now. The blue buff's due to come up as well, and the deep ward you can see placed at the speed buff area. They're looking to control this area, maybe look to make something happen.
Exactly, they're getting the ward control around the speed buff, and now I think they're going to go for either steal or engage on them.
Well, Jeff is over here, though, well aware of what's going on right now, but Baskin looking for a cheeky steal away. Not going to find it this time. Mast picks up his own buff, and the tails of SoaR turn around. Meanwhile, though, in the jungle, Hunters are trading off again.
BaRRa able to secure his own red, and you saw that aggression on that speed buff because Mast is still level 11. Andinster's already backed. He's level 12. He's got his second relic, while Mast is only sitting on that pure.
Oh, but Baskin surrounded by 4 members now, forced to use the big baby early on, and they're still beating him down through the big baby ultimate. Into the heal he goes, though, from Metyankey, sustaining back up his Baskin now. In the sky is Mast thinking about coming down, but instead, the call is to reset.
So close, and I love the pickup by Mast, getting Brawler's Beat Stick's second item. Usually we see Hydra's Lament, sometimes a Jotun's, but this time recognizing that they need that anti-heal early on, that's why they almost killed Baskin.
It was so important for Baskin ulting when he did, because if he did ulted like, if he didn't ult 2 seconds later, then the gap would have basically locked him down and he would have been able to.
Well, Mast going in onto Metyankey there. Good knuckle from Jeff as well, but great peel from Jigz again. But look at that shotgun that just hit them from Xenotronics in the mid lane.
Xeno's playing very aggressively right now, and that's a good sign if you're rooting for Luminosity. Not a good sign right now,
Snoopy's aggressive, and he's going to get the kill. Hello, friend. I'm a Hunter. I used to play against you in mid. That's how you kill him.
And there we go. There is the rotation from Snoopy I was talking about, and this is going to be basically keep on going.
That's the problem with using your portal offensively there for Xenotronics. I loved the aggressive positioning to get up, guarantee that unstable vortex, but then he used the portal, and there was really no kill potential after that anyways. Every skill was on cooldown, and then when you don't have it, you just kind of get chased down. Nowhere to go for him there.
Mast just trying to farm up in the mid lane. They're going to be forced back to bases, as is SoaRD. But meanwhile, SoaR, what are they doing? They've started the Gold Fury again.
What can BaRRaCCuDDa do here? Still, 2 RAS. Actually, 1 is down for Baskin. SoaRD's teleported in around the back side.
Yeah, as you see, Mast is coming to. The Gold Fury still stands for a second. SoaR get that, but it looks like the fight might go a different way. Snoopy's in trouble. Metyankey misses the ult. Space and time fired for support as BaRRaCCuDDa is surrounded by 2, but so is Metyankey.
Mast picks up the double kill. Baskin still fighting around the Gold Fury pit. Mast comes crashing down onto Jigz. Triple kill for the jungler for Luminosity.
And can he find the quadras? The question. Run, Baskin, run. Will he get back to the safety of his tower? He will. Still going in though is SoaRD.
Scary's just zoning out Baskin right now. No need to chase that kill any longer. Yes, SoaR got the Gold Fury, but you lost 3 in the process as well as your middle tower.
This is so worth for Luminosity. They don't care about losing Gold Fury. Now they get 2 towers and they get 3 kills. That's worth any day.
But where was Andinster? Where was he in that fight?
Split pushing. And once that fight started to turn south, Andy just bailed.
Is that
he said, every man for himself. I'm out. I'm going to go push this right-hand tower. Sure, he got it, but Trix,
I think Andinster had the mentality like they're going to get the Gold Fury and get out, and not that it was such a long fight. Otherwise, I think he would have gone to the Gold Fury and helped his team out, but instead he just went split pushing.
And that sometimes happens whenever you're going into a call like that. You say, okay, we're getting this, and then we're getting out 100% of the time. But then the rest of the team kind of doesn't, they're like, okay, maybe we can stay in the fight or something like that. But Andinster clearly made that call and stuck to it 100%. The rest of the team did not.
And we do see a lot of junglers do that as well, let's be honest, because they'll initiate the fight, they'll get the objective, perspective and then go, okay, I'm going to split to the other side and try and make something else happen for themselves.
How often have you gotten ditched by Cuvo after a Gold Fury, Trix?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
He goes play pushing like, I'm mid, by the way. Like,
Good luck, guys.
yeah.
Well, it's now 6-3. The gold lead is only 300 roughly in favor of Luminosity now. Between these two teams, it's been back and forth, and this is what you kind of expect out of the top two North American teams we were going to see.
And that was a huge fight for Luminosity in general, but for Mask specifically. Obviously picks up the triple kill there, but those were his first 3 kills of the game, and he was behind Andinster for most of this game. So for him to be able to catch up, he's now finished that hi-rez. He's got the brawlers online. In fact, he's a little bit ahead of Andinster in his build, and he's actually picked up teleports. I think he might have picked up teleport for that fight in particular.
Wow, well spaced and time, been fired by Xenotronics again. Into the sky goes
alone.
fast a little bit early. They are looking for the pick, but will they find it? They will. The shotgun is good, and there's another kill.
That's exactly what I was talking about. They see the Janus on the ward, they're like, we don't care, we're gonna dive their side, it doesn't matter, we're gonna get the kill and get out.
And again, that's Xenotronics, no hesitation.
You were
See
asking
him on
for
the
that.
ward,
You were
they
asking
call
for that
it.
after game 1 against China. You said he ulted left and it was great, but he's got to get in the game, and he's in the game right now. So it's masked, so to speak, as well. 3, 1, and 2. He is making things work on this Ratatoskr.
And this is when you notice it's an experienced team. They get the pick and they reckon the left side is already pushed, so they're like everybody pushing to the left side to get that secure tower and get more lead.
And since Super Regionals as well, I mean, Agro, we've watched this team at Super Regionals. We saw the trials, the tribulations to try and get to the World Championships. And it was all focused on SoaRD, who's got himself the 2 first bloods in the first 2 games he's played him. And it was on Xenotronics in mid, who seemed to be struggling. And the first 2 games, different story here.
Remember, Luminosity needed help to get here. Help from you,
right?
Trix. They needed you to do this. Very kind of you to send them to the World Championships, and they're definitely making the most of it. And you're right, Hindu. That was a talking point for Luminosity. It was, yeah, BaRRa's going to do great, and so is Jeff. But what about SoaRD and what about Xenotronics? And the resounding answer has been very, very solid for them thus far.
They've really made corrections over the course. And how difficult, Trixtank, is it when you watch back over your game tape to realize like where the biggest issues are, and how do you look at correcting those?
Oh, it's horrible because sometimes it's like these small mistakes which can be a big one. So you always go back and be like, why did I do that?
And then you actually work on that with your team. To
Oh
try
yeah,
and
of course. You
work
talk
away
about
with
it, like make sure we don't do that mistake again.
And that's what
one of
Jeff and BaRRa are going to be trying to do here.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Hindu. That's exactly what I was going to say. That's the boon of having these veteran players on your roster.
2 former world champions.
Yeah,
remember that.
they've got a pretty long resume. We'll put it that way.
They've been around.
Yeah, I was talking with Jeff as well after regionals. He really tried to help Xenotronic and SoaRD to like calm their nerves down because they were really nervous. It's their first time on a real stage, so I think he's doing a really good job calming his rookies.
And look, there's a lot of pressure at Super Regionals, but you're sitting in a fairly small esports arena with just the pros watching you, and then to come here to the Cobb Energy Center and have this gigantic crowd in front of you, you'd think the nerves would get worse, but it seems to have gotten better for both Xeno and SoaRD.
And to be fair, when you say nerves, even the crowd seem a bit nervous right now. It's quite quiet here in the stadium just because of the fact that this is a close game between 2 teams that are very, very, highly rated and loved by the fans as well.
Especially BaRRaCCuDDa. These people love them some BaRRaCCuDDa.
Well, there you go. Those ones do anyway.
Yeah.
The Gold Fury is about to spawn here very, very soon. SoaR have got the last 2 in a row, though. They'll be looking to continue that form if they can, especially because there's only 1 Wrath on the side of Luminosity.
But now, when the fight is going to come, we're going to look at 2 people on 1 people on each team, and that's going to be the AD carries. It's going to be BaRRaCCuDDa and Snoopy. They're so far ahead because they've had free farm, and they're going to do so much if you don't lock them down in team fights.
Well, here's the one question then, because obviously we've got SoaR being played this game for BaRRaCCuDDa, right? And when do you really want a mage, the AD carry mages to be involved, or would you prefer the
SoaR
actual
is as
full
strong as
physical
Jing
hunters? Really?
for sure. It's threat through tank. They have SoaRD on Amaterasu and the Gap, so it's really good they have that threat towards the tanks.
There's definitely a trade-off there, though. I mean, Jingwei, she's going to want to go on your squishies. She's going to try and go on Xenotronics and just crit you down and burst you out of nowhere. Whereas SoaR is more AoE damage-oriented, but if you can get that passive stack, you can get those heat stacks all the way up, then you can start swinging like a traditional AD carry. Plus, if you win a team fight with SoaR, her tower push is basically unparalleled.
A lot of people would maybe say that the fact that Luminosity haven't gotten a single weakening curse on their team is bad, but they have Janus, so they can literally run him down. So I actually think the sprint is a really good pickup.
But they kind of telegraphed that a little bit so far, haven't they? They've been focused onto Metyankey already with some of these ultimates coming out from Xenotronics. So if they all try and dive onto Metyankey, they've got to be a little bit careful of like being peeled away and having the fight turned on them.
When this draft happened, someone on SoaR said to Met, hey, they're going to Janus ult you constantly. Be careful where you are in the jungle. He already knew. There's no showing your hand.
Well, whenever you see Xenotronics like that put the threshold down, he's looking for that power spike and the mobility as well, if he does choose to use the through space and time.
But if they do focus Metyankey in the team fight, Snoopy will stand free and he will kill everybody. So that's what I'm going to look at.
And last time we saw Snoopy stand free, well, he picked up Xenotronics in the mid lane as well. So we'll see how that happens. But SoaR looking into the jungle and round towards mid.
Oh, here we go. Ultimate on the mass, but it's Xenotronics already getting bursted down, plucked back by Jigz.
Oh,
sniped
the
away by
snipe was
Metyankey.
right on point from Metyankey there to pick him up too. Good pick from SoaR overall, but it was the same old tail of the tape from Xenotronics. As a Janus, you've got to be near a wall, aggro. You said it all last time we saw this.
Standing in the middle of the lane. There's just no reason to be there, ever. Always near a wall if you're Janus.
And when you get a pick with a Ra, you can literally siege everything down. They're gonna, I actually think they're gonna go for the Phoenix.
Well, here we go, but Mass is in the sky, gonna try and slow them down for a second as well. The front line is being zone controlled by Baskin as Jeff tries to slow them down with the Cataclysm, but the beatdown is just too good from Baskin and SoaR. Luminosity have to fall back and lose the tier 2 tower.
All right, they go for the saver call, go back, heal, take the goal free. Better call, it is on the big stage. You do want to win this game. I understand this call.
No way to really contest this if you're Luminosity. The only hope is that Xenotronics just spawned with a through space and time, but even then, it's already dead. Through space and time is fired to try and help the chase, but not going to be able to do anything.
Too late on that one there. So SoaR will extend their gold lead to around 3,000 now in this game. You saw the last Gold Fury, it was tier 1, tier 2 tower taken by Luminosity in mid lane. SoaR get those just before that Gold Fury attempt as well. So for all intents and purposes, 2,000 gold isn't the end of the game, Tricks, is it?
Nah, they are a little bit ahead, but now when the Ra actually got a lead and he got ahead again, I actually think they'll go to the lane and start fighting there.
Yeah, and this spot for SoaR is definitely a solid one because you're getting closer to that those level 20s that you're looking for. Both Snoopy and Baskin have already hit theirs, and like you mentioned, Tricks, there's not a whole lot of anti-heal available to Luminosity. Sure, they've got the Pestilence for Scaredy, they've got the Brawler's Beat Stick coming out from Mass, but no curse, and the healing is just going to keep getting stronger with power.
Well, we see Jeff rolling in there to put a bit of pressure onto Baskin. The support for both teams on the way over, but it looks like Scaredy is committing heavily to force Baskin's ultimate.
That's because everyone else is here. Mass is looking at him as well. There's the
anti-heal
on him.
And they're going to burst through with BaRRaCCuDDa being there too. Big pickup for them. Mass then has to fall back. The snipe from Yankee though. He catches the rat with his tail between his legs. The big ultimate from the Supernova comes out, but in the sky is Snoopy. The airstrike puts him in an awkward position. Through the wall, he's one hit, and Scaredy gets him out too. I can hear the crowd. They're clearly LG fans here.
BaRRaCCuDDa's not done yet. Look at it, Jigz. One more auto will do it. He'll find him. BaRRaCCuDDa's on a killing spree.
And Zeno picks up Metyankey. You want anti-heal, my friend? That's the best form of anti-heal.
I have no idea how Luminosity won that fight. They used everything on Baskin, but still came on up ahead.
It was BaRRaCCuDDa with that ultimate. We saw him use it under the tier 2, but it was shelled away by Jigz. This time, no shell available. That turnaround Cataclysm by JeffHindla was absolutely flawless. Catches 4. BaRRaCCuDDa follows up instantly, and it was a very back and forth fight.
BaRRaCCuDDa's hitting every single ability at this point. He is playing so good, and he was the only reason they won that fight. He did so much damage.
This is BaRRaCCuDDa's plot armor coming into play again, because supposedly he's sick all over again. You know, he's dying on the stage. You see him coughing on the camera now and again, and Jeff too now. But yet again, it's just another plot armor device to lure you all to forget how good they really are.
BaRRaCCuDDa is, I said it earlier, BaRRaCCuDDa is playing at a level that we've rarely seen in this game. Just ever since the group stages, super regionals as well, now here at Worlds. I mean, he's in the conversation right now for best player in the world, in my mind. He's just played that well, that consistently.
And Masters when the jungle did make a that, although Metyankey cleaned him up in the mid lane. That could have gone a little bit worse for SoaR if Mask had survived as well.
So now when Luminosity actually got Fire Giant, I'm not sure if they want to go hard on the Phoenixes. I think they just want to get the towers, get that extra lead, and then see where it's going to go.
Well, they're going to start off by controlling the jungle a little bit. The red buff just spawning here as well. They could look for the tier 2 on the left-hand side potentially, then come back to the Gold Fury as well.
They will 100% get both towers now, and then I think they will go for Gold Fury. I don't think they're in the right position to go for Phoenix yet.
I really like the pickup, by the way, of this Mantle of Discord for Mass because he went for Teleport second Relic. He doesn't have that panic button of Sanctuary whenever he's in the middle of everyone to buy himself some time. Mantle of Discord is going to kind of fill that role for Mass in the jungle.
Well, they're marching on towards this Phoenix for a second, Luminosity. The ward clearing up is important to make sure there's no one wrapping around the back and keeping vision. Jigz and JeffHindla on the front line for either team there with ScaryD and Baskin 2. 11-5, the Fire Giant on all 5 members.
Andinster needs to make a play here because he's bottom of the player damage charts right now. 0-1, has not made the impact you expect.
If they want to go for the Phoenix, they need ScaryD to be the front line because the gap shield, he can't shield himself. He gets in trouble. So he needs ScaryD to be in the front line, but they are going to call this off.
You mentioned Andinster, bottom of the player damage. He's not really been involved. Ever since that goal for you, we're like, where was he in that fight, actually? Right-hand side split pushing.
Overall, the Nemesis pick was not too good here with all the moves.
Space inside fired round their back, come Luminosity. They're feeling themselves, but I don't think this is a good call. Dino's in trouble. Ulted, the snipe from Yankee hit, but the Sanctuary comes into play. Into the sky goes Mass now, looking to the back line with ScaryD onto Snoopy, and Snoopy's got a big shell on him from Jigz.
The shell has been huge so far this fight. They all back up right now. You've got the heal reset from Metyankey and everyone from Luminosity healing up off that Fire Giant buff.
But both teams are full health right now, but a lot of ultimates used.
That engage would have been so good if Luminosity just hit a single spell. But
well, here we go again. Jeff will tank up. Scary will be going straight for Snoopy again, but Jigz turning his attention to ScaryD for a second. Meanwhile, Xenotronics trying to keep himself alive in the back, being aggro by Andinster, but ScaryD's gone too deep, and Scary's in a world of hurt. He will fall here.
Right? Right?
Oh, will he? Yeah,
okay.
Well, okay. Took a little bit of time there. They will pick up ScaryD, but the Phoenix falls down.
Exactly. This is definitely worth for Luminosity. They get the left lane Phoenix, which is the most important one, because when they're going to fight around Fire Giant again, they are going to have the Fire Creep running in the left lane, so that's going to be a trouble for them.
And it's extra good because that Fire Giant's respawning in about a minute and a half. Usually whenever you take that left-hand Phoenix, you go there right after Fire Giant, and there's still so much time. It gives them a lot of time to push out those fire waves, but because Fire Giant's respawning so soon and that extended engagement happened, now it's going to be longer before that left Phoenix respawns, which means you could afford to dance around that Fire Giant more if you're Luminosity.
But then again, they have Xingwei with the passive, so he will be able to rotate really quickly.
And Janus as well on the side of Luminosity though, so they can do the opposite and even catch her out of position if she goes too far forward.
Plus, you've got 2 teleports for Luminosity. Baskin has his for SoaR, but you see Mass has one and ScaryD, whatever he respawns. I love the team play from Luminosity, and like you said, Trix, that initial engagement would have been so good for Luminosity if they had just hit their spells. Because I like the idea, just dissect the team fight, cut off the escape route around the backside of the Phoenix. It didn't work out, but they got that shell, and JeffHindla still had his. That re-engage, it was all shell from JeffHindla.
It was mostly smart because they had 3 people going towards the mid lane, so SoaR was rotating to the mid lane as well, and meanwhile 2 people were still under the left Phoenix, so they could have cut them off, basically.
Well, this will be the longest game of the day so far, and obviously it's going to be 2 North American teams to do it in Game 5 so far. The Fire Giant due to spawn here in about another 25 seconds time, so war coverage and focus on this. It's very difficult for SoaR to defend against this.
Oh yeah, I'm not sure what they're gonna do at this point. Janus is really far ahead, so Metyankey is gonna be in huge problems. But I think if they just play calm, play with the heals, then they're gonna be all right.
I really like the pickup now of Ratatoskr for Metyankey. I was gonna ask where it was because we usually don't see that Book of Thoth on Ra in the middle lane, and especially with how effective Ratatoskr is in this matchup here, with the Ra healing, the Sobek healing, and the Vamana healing.
He still have no magical protection, so BaRRaCCuDDa and Xenotronics is basically gonna rip through him anyways.
Fire Giant started up, Jeff on zone duty for now. Jigz trying to work his way in, but round the back, cheeky was Andy. Mass was well aware of that. Meanwhile in the fight though, Scary on the front side is looking towards Jigz, and Jigz is forced to ult now, trying to keep himself alive, but he'll be the first casualty to BaRRaCCuDDa. Xenotronics is low, and Andy gets 1, Andy gets 2, here comes the jungler and the team of SoaR.
But Scary finds Snoopy, BaRRaCCuDDa juking around with the Gep Shield. Jeff charging up his rollout, the heal down from Metyankey. Ra is so healthy, it's up to BaRRaCCuDDa right now to trade out.
And Andy's running for his life now. ScaryD does not chase, however, he keeps his hunter alive. Very important play.
BaRRaCCuDDa just jukes so well, and that's why he's alive right now. It's so weird because BaRRaCCuDDa is in the front line of LG, and on the same time, Snoopy's in the front line of SoaR. This is so weird. It should be the other way around, like the supports is back there.
Even, it's been happening all game. Even earlier on, whenever we saw Luminosity defending that tier 2 tower, BaRRaCCuDDa went in front of JeffHindla to try and follow up off of his knockup. BaRRaCCuDDa's had very aggressive positioning all game, and that's the first time we've seen SoaR really look at him, but even then, it was after they had already found kills on the Xenotronics and Mask.
Now that works out pretty well for SoaR overall, just because they get a chance for their Phoenix to come back out, the Fire Giant still stands, and they traded a support and a Hunter for a mid laner and a jungler. I'm okay with that. However, straight back to it go LG. SoaR are here, and they know something's up.
And no Wrath available for SoaRD though, so they won't be able to secure it.
Are they
with
giving up?
that, BaRRaCCuDDa is still on the Fire Giant right now.
Is this a free Fire Giant? It doesn't look like SoaR feel they could contest. They're going to have to give it up. And the Phoenix will respawn on left, however.
Baskin was in the left lane. He had no teleport, so they reckon they were 4v5. They didn't want to take that fight and lose this game. They can maybe come back now when they're 5v5 under Phoenix. We'll see.
And I also like the fact that that call was made to give it up, and then they didn't just kind of hang around, because if you saw Metyankey or Andinster or even Jigz hanging around that speed buff, we would have seen an immediate through space and time, and then that would have been a pick, and then that could have meant the end of the game. Instead, SoaR playing disciplined yet again here, but even despite their disciplined play, their backs are against the wall.
It's funny
Another
because
5 members with Fire Giant.
We talked a lot about Luminosity here and how they've made adaptations to get to this stage now. At Super Regionals, they lost to SoaR, and SoaR looked absolutely dominant against them, let's be honest. But right now, SoaR, they're really struggling. They're not finding their real footing. We've seen them on before.
JeffHindla chasing everyone away. Mask finds a big knock up in the background. Immediately eats the Smite though!
And Mask is out of the equation against the Fire Giant team. SoaR secure a kill, and that should weather the storm for the next one.
I mean, what can you say? Metyankey hitting that auto snipe is the only reason they got that those kills.
JeffHindla still needs some help. You saw the ultimate come out from BaRRa to support. Snoopy went a bit too deep, and Snoopy's going to go back out again. Scary's still alive on the front side, though. Just being that tanky, his sprint's been popped.
They're going in right now. Jigz eats a huge chunk of damage. Xeno gonna be able to find him. Now Baskin's stunned out. BaRRaCCuDDa's gonna find his 5th kill. 2 dead for SoaR.
And the weakened Phoenix is definitely still there for them to march on towards. Only Mask dead. 4 members still with the Fire Giant.
SoaR just straight up overextending that. They need to be calmed down there and just go back, heal up, and say thank you. We're waiting for the Fire Giant to run out now.
Half health for the Phoenix, and round the back comes Janus. They're trying to slow them down and get some attention. He got it from BaRRaCCuDDa, but it won't keep the Phoenix alive. The ult from Scary, they're looking for Snoopy. Purification, but Metyankey, I don't know where he got him from, but I think that was a snipe that hit onto Xenotronics.
It was, and that's a big one because Snoopy was in some trouble. Now Snoopy gets a little bit of a heal, but he still wants to keep going. Andinster around the backside. Nemalt onto BaRRaCCuDDa, but he still has this
They get from JeffHindla comes into play, removes the slow, and gets him back to safety.
All right, finally, no overextension. They reckon, okay, maybe we're doing the same mistake as we just did. Let's just fall back, play passive, and then get this Phoenix up once again.
But they will get the Gold Fury as well on their exit, so considering they lost Mask before they even got to the Phoenix there, that works out really well for Luminosity.
Very much so, and Jigz is just having a tough game right now. He's not able to find the engagements that he wants. 0-6. He's had some decent plucks. He set up for the early game, but ever since, it's just been SoaR on the back foot in every engagement.
But on the other side, Luminosity, JeffHindla on the Geb is doing so well.
And the funny thing is, when you play against the Geb tricks, everyone always says you focus the Geb early because his first few levels is weakest. But as a support player as well, he's the best at late game.
Geb is so bad early game, but when you get it to late game, you feel so nice. You feel you're so comfortable, you can do whatever you want, and you're also your solo lane. It can basically be in the front line, do whatever he wants because he got those Geb shields.
So does it benefit Jeff on this Geb to not be in lane against the Sobek? Is it better for him to be able to be roaming around like he was? He doesn't have that threat of getting plucked in.
Nah, I still think he's really bad in this meta because he doesn't really have any fight potential early game anyway, so...
Well, talk about fight potential, we might see one again in a second as Baskin does eat a bit of damage from that Stellar Burst in the front line there. Jigz zoning on the left, looking for a pluck if he can find it for the time being, but Luminosity biding their time here for the right opportunity.
And that was the last time we saw BaRRaCCuDDa actually finally get Nemalted. I don't know what it is about BaRRaCCuDDa that no one Nemalts him, but we finally saw it happen, but it was too late in that engagement. We need to see Andinster look at BaRRaCCuDDa. Sure, Xeno's doing well in these team fights, but look at the player damage for BaRRaCCuDDa right now, 34,000.
Huge. BaRRaCCuDDa's doing a really good job. Right now, I think Luminosity just want to gather themselves, get all the buffs, go to the right lane, take the tower down, let the left lane push in, and then go for the Phoenixes.
Yeah, it really feels like they need a pick if they want to continue assaulting right now. Otherwise, it's wait for the Fire Giant again, another fight the Fire Giant. And when you've got someone like Janus and Xenotronics with that space and time, if he can hit one target, it will be removed from the game.
Without a doubt. At this point, oh yeah, it's going to do a ton of damage. Taking a look at Snoopy's build, we're seeing him go for triple crit right off the bat. He didn't go for the Ichaival because he wasn't against a physical hunter in lane, but kind of surprised to not see a Titan's Bane. We see the Executioner, and those two don't interact very well together, so that's probably why you don't see it, but going triple crit against Geb, it's just, his damage is not going to be as effective. Remember,
Let's be honest,
passive.
Is he really hitting Geb? He's not
exactly.
even him.
As I said before, like Snoopy is literally in the back line of Luminosity, so he's not hitting him anyways. But I think it's a great bit, just getting the crit, one-shot potential.
That's definitely true. I'm just worried about their tower push potential. If they were able to win a fight, it's going to take them longer to take down the remaining structure.
Well, we are hitting that time of the game, though, where respawns are so long that that'll come into play as well, which will allow them that extra time they may need. Ward placements, very important as the Fire Giant started again. The last one went free to Luminosity after an engagement, but the engagement was relatively even last time. Here come the boys of SoaR.
SoaRD has the Wrath, but still 2 Wraths available for SoaR. The focus is on to Baskin. SoaRD gets plucked away from him, but nowhere to go. Around the back, though, Andinster's looking at BaRRa.
Sneaking round the back right now as they engage, and they're looking for the pick on Xeno. He's already down. Meanwhile, Snoopy, though, took a lot of brunt of damage there, and Massi's looking to clean him up. He's got support from SoaRD. 1 for 1, 2 for 1 as JeffHindla is going to fall down to Baskin now. SoaR are back in the game. They get 2 kills for just 1.
And Xenotronics is once again out of position. He needs to stay around his team. Use his ultimate
by
with
walls.
him.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's standing in the right lane. I mean, he had both relics, and instead of using Sanctuary against the auto attacks, I mean, taking a look at Andinster's build, those autos are going to do a lot of damage, especially with that Hydra's Lament passive. So whenever he got Nem ulted, he chose to try and charge through space and time instead of just using the Sanctuary.
The biggest difference there was Andinster was not checked round the back with that ultimate. The last time we saw the Fire Giant dance, Andy got spotted, and that immediately caused issues for SoaR.
But the left Phoenix did go down, so they still have that pressure around them, so they can possibly, when Xenotronic and JeffHindla is up again, go for the Fire Giant and try to get a better fight, because this was only due to Xenotronic just being out of position.
And now at 38 minutes in the game, you can see both teams have had to fall back from the Fire Giant for now because they can't do it without the whole team being there, or at least winning a clean engagement overall.
And that's really good for Luminosity because they lose 2 members there, 2 very impactful members in your mid laner and your late game Geb, which can absolutely be a carry at this stage. And then they don't lose anything for it. They are able to find Snoopy, but they don't lose the Fire Giant. They even get that left Phoenix. It's still providing that same amount of pressure. It's just the only difference between this next engagement and the one we just saw is that the time's different. There's no other change.
Well, the time being different does mean that if you do win the engagement, they're all dead a lot longer. I said it a little bit earlier on, and I'm just waiting to see one big ultimate from one of these mages here, Trixtank.
They need to group up now with the Janus and get those good ultimates, otherwise Luminosity can throw this game.
That's a good point. We've not seen the ultimate in a little while coming out from Xenotronics here. They've been holding it a little bit longer. They're going to recommit to the Fire Giant, just trying to draw in SoaR one more time. Baskin is just back to base, and he does have teleport.
LG needs to be careful here because JeffHindla's relics are still on cooldown for another 20 seconds. If SoaR recognizes this, it could be a great engagement.
Well, they're looking at SoaRD. He's going to get plucked into a bit of a dangerous spot there. Metyankey gets some good poke off as well. Mass is forced into the sky here, looking to support Xenotronics. And actually, it's Andinster now in trouble as well. Force the Sanctuary away. The dash is good from Mass, but it's not enough to get the kill. And now Mask is going to fall back as well.
Nice unstable Vortex. 2-man Cataclysm. Where did Snoopy go?
Oh, my word. Goodbye, Snoopy. Goodbye, Andy. We salute you. Goodbye, Baskin. We knew you well. 3 members of SoaR are dead. And now it's Luminosity once again. What went wrong, Trick?
BaRRaCCuDDa, like, he just got an absolutely sick ultimate. We see Xenotronic actually using us really random in the right lane, and then everybody rotating over to him. On that rotation, BaRRaCCuDDa caught them all and used his ultimate and got so much damage.
Well, it looks like they might be trying to end because they're going down the left-hand side here. That Phoenix is down for a while. They're going to fire Minion Wave with them, and they're going to push on against just 2 members of SoaR here, looking to close out their second game of the day and move themselves on to tomorrow, the quarterfinals now. Oh wait, Luminosity and SoaR as well, but SoaR are going to have a bit more of a tricky opponent.
what an unbelievable game from Luminosity. It was back and forth, very much so. We saw great plays from SoaR, some questionable ones from Luminosity at times, but at the end of the day, ScaryD, for me, really, really stood out. He had an excellent game.
SoaR have always been on the upper hand whenever they play against Luminosity.
That's right.
But finally, Luminosity find the upper hand, win against SoaR, their scrim partner, and what a better time to do it on the than on the world
That's
stage.
the key there, Trix. What a time to do that. Luminosity march on to tomorrow with 2 wins today. The analysts are ready to take us all through it.
Thank you so much, guys. What a matchup there. Congratulations to Luminosity. This team looks phenomenal. Give it up. Give it up for them. I don't see why not. I mean, all right, let's just start with the first one, the big one in my opinion, which was the triple kill from Mass to open things up. I mean, his play on Ratatoskr has been incredible. He was actually banned out of the Ratatoskr in the Hoppy game. Funny enough, Hoppy knew, I don't think we want to really deal with Mass Ratatoskr, Taco.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that Mast on this Ratatoskr, especially at this fight where they lost the Gold Fury, but the triple kill and the secure that they managed to combine into after the fight went south, it was just amazing in my opinion, because I think that was like the pinnacle for them snowballing super hard. And Luminosity just looked so comfortable the entire game, particularly with Mast and Jeff just roaming around the jungle non-stop, able to secure these kills. And I think that it was really important because it just seemed like BaRRa didn't even really have to participate for the majority of that.
No, and BaRRaCCuDDa was pretty much AFK until mid-game.
Yeah.
And
For lack of a better term.
yeah. And Mass knew how to play that. He's played Rat for so long, and I think that's one of his most comfortable gods. And he was just camping the soul lane to get ScaryD ahead, and I think ScaryD was MVP for that game.
Yeah, no, Scary in comparison to Supers, he just looks like a completely different player in my opinion. You can tell that he's really progressed and started to show a lot more confidence because he was going toe-to-toe with Baskin despite everything that happened at the previous LAN. And the fact is, he was really just such an impactful force with the Amaterasu in the team fight. He was ensuring kills, and also the speed passive that he was giving all to his teammates for the chase secure and everything like that, combined with the Janus, they just had so much team presence. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, really well done. Now, we can't talk about the pick there on Soul for BaRRaCCuDDa and how impactful that was. You made the joke before. It was essentially a AFK until the midpoint of the game there. He had a performance, though, a very, very solid one. What is it about that Soul Xingwei pick there, right? Like the counter to Xingwei, because we saw what BaRRaCCuDDa was capable of doing on Xingwei when they played against Hoppy. So what was the mentality for BaRRa there?
So after Snoopy took the Jingwei, I felt like BaRRaCCuDDa wanted his next best pick, which was Sol. And in that matchup, Sol and Jingwei, Sol should win because she can actually outpoke the Jingwei, and Sol has the damage potential to actually keep up with the Jingwei, and he just kept farming.
Yeah, and I think just overall, Snoopy was pretty uncomfortable looking on that Jingwei because, when you think of Snoopy, you're more accustomed to seeing him either on a Soul Chronos or a Ram pick, but the fact that he opted for Jingwei, I think was partially to take away the comfortability from BaRRa, but at the same time, it just seemed like he wasn't really sure how to handle the aggression during the laning phase. And sure, he kept BaRRa involved to where he wasn't really a participant in the team fights, but at the same time, he did fall behind pretty hard, which is something that you really don't want to be doing on Jingwei.
Yeah, and another thing too, how important was JeffHindla in that matchup? Because a fun fact, we do have Jeff standing by, but Funball, I want to get your thought real quick before we toss it over to the stage. How much of an impact did he have in this game?
He hit multiple triple and quadra ultimates, and he saves BaRRaCCuDDa's life after, during the Fire Giant fight, I believe.
Yeah, the later one.
Yeah, and he saved his life twice, and 3 people got out, which kept them in the game, which stopped SoaR, from getting Fire Giant.
Well, it's very clear that they're BFFs.
Yeah.
Okay, that's basically what I'm getting here. He's always got his boys back. But let's actually hear from the man himself with the majestic beard made of the gods, forged from the iron of the gods. It's JeffHindla with my main man, Rain Day. Take it away.
A majestic beard forged by the iron of the gods. That's a big title there, Jeff. How are you feeling coming into this event? You guys go 2-0 to start.
I'm feeling fantastic today. I mean, it really can't go much better than today, right? And so I'm really excited.
You got your nice turquoise earrings on. We were talking about those earlier. You know, you and your team have had, obviously, I talked about this with BaRRaCCuDDa, not the best performance at Super Regionals coming into this, but now things seem to have clicked. What has changed and given you this confidence and success so far in these first 2 games?
Honestly, everyone's just kind of stepped it up today. Like, everyone's playing really well. I mean, if you watch Scary was just making crazy plays in game, like in game 2. I was like, oh, okay, the kill's gone, like, whatever, like, it's not a big deal. And Scary's like, I got this. I'm like, okay, you got this, like, no problem. I don't know, it's just great.
As a support and your role in the team, you have to think about more than just yourself. You have to see how your players are doing. You have to see how your hunter's doing. Scary D, he's had some question marks about him, but he's really showed up here today. How much is that going to be for his confidence moving forward against these other top-tier solo laners?
I mean, I would imagine it goes well. Scary played fantastic today, so can't wait for tomorrow.
Nice, man. You're at HRX. I mean, you're kind of local here. You know what the area is about, but you having fun. What are you looking forward to this week?
Meeting fans. Definitely an amazing part of World hi-rez Expo. Like, but I don't know. Like, every time I go out, and like, there's just so many people to say hi to and stuff. It's great.
Well, you're not a hard guy to spot. Thank you so much, Jeff. Give him a round of applause. Congratulations, Luminosity, going 2-0 to start things off. We're going to head back to the analyst desk for Golden Boy to take us away to the next stage.
Thank you so much, man. Just look at that man. You know what I mean? He is a majestic beast, and that is why I'm a huge fan of JeffHindla, the one and only. And also too, you know, I also think it's incredible to give a huge shout out to everyone here. So give yourselves a round of applause if you're in the venue, because you guys have been amazing all day. I've been taking videos and stuff. The crowd has been electric, and it's been so fun to be a part of it. This is your first Worlds as an analyst. Actually, both of you guys, as a matter of fact. How's the experience been?
It's definitely been a pretty exhilarating experience, in my opinion. It's really awesome coming here and seeing everybody and just the crowd and the way that they get amped up, especially with the games that we've had today. You know, we've already seen one upset, so I think it's only going to get better.
Yeah, and it feels different being here, other than being a player. I didn't make it to Season 1, but Season 2 made it as a player, and now, you know, it feels different.
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, at least you're here.
Yeah.
At least you're here, you know? I mean, hopefully you don't pull an Incon, and you're here 2 years in a row. But that's okay. So, jokes aside, though, guys, every year we showcase what's coming up in Smite, and we have a lot of things, a lot of the good stuff to talk about this weekend. We talked about the new Celtic Pantheon, the new Egyptian battleground, of course, the God reveal for the Morrigan, which was pretty insane. But there's still more to talk about. Can you believe it? I mean, it's pretty absurd. And to kind of guide us through this one, here's a quick video on what is arriving for Season 4 of Smite.
So we have a lot of really exciting stuff coming up in the Season 4 patch. We have the new Clash map, Egyptian art theme. We have the Morrigan, which with a crazy new kit. We have lots of other changes into the game from the UI and other systems, but we also have a lot of big gameplay changes.
Season 4, like every season, we want it to be a big shakeup. We want it to feel like the same game, but also kind of a new game. And one of the big ways we're going to do that is we want to mess with the start. We basically want to give you more flexibility.
One of the key ways we did this was by adjusting all the starter items and Tier 1 items. This really changes how you start a match. So everyone's going to see a lot more different varying builds, hopefully at the start of the match, and then that'll carry you through the rest of the game.
Another part of our item balancing is the relics. We'll be rebalancing the relics we have and introducing a couple new ones that we hope you're excited about.
So every relic, you're still going to get those for free at levels 1 and 12. Every relic will have a slightly different upgrade effect. Some relics will have reduced cooldown, some will have increased potency, some might have additional effects. As an option, anytime throughout the match, you can upgrade your relics now for additional gold. We're also introducing 2 new types of item. One is the container, as we're calling it, and this is a type of consumable that refills when you return to base. So you'll have the mana chalice and healing chalice. That this will work like a stack of potions. You can use the potions over and over again, and then when you return to base, it'll automatically refill. The second type of new item we're adding is the ritual. Rituals have extremely powerful relic-like effects, such as combat blink and teleport to gods. So these rituals will be really big impact late in the game to prevent stalemates or any sort of dancing around objectives for too long. You can really initiate and cause some crazy powerful effects by buying into the rituals.
We've been looking at a lot of things that we can do to make conquests more exciting for people. We We saw that you guys wanted to have a shift a lot of the current meta and spice things up by adding new things or shifting a lot of the jungles so that we can get new layouts and stuff.
First thing is that boars are being removed and replaced with a Cyclops jungle buff carrier with a new type of buff. Also, a lot of camps throughout the map have had their gold and XP and respawn rates adjusted. This is really to facilitate the jungle role, to spend more time in the jungle.
We want to break up the flow at the beginning of the game. We noticed that when people play Conquest, there's a very set time and place you have to be. We like that people like to come up with new strategies. We wanted to make it a little bit flexible.
We're also introducing 2 new objectives. The first one is the Gold Fury Oracles. These hang out near the Gold Fury, and if one team kills both of them, you'll get a ward on the Gold Fury. And this ward will keep vision for your team over the Gold Fury for a period of time and can't be destroyed.
We've also added a new objective in front of the Fire Giant Pit. It's a large elemental. And so what this does is, if you kill him, you get a portal that opens up and it links from your base to the Fire Giant Pit. It's a one-way portal and you can take it as many times as you want and it lasts for some amount of time. So what this does is it gives you a really strong positional advantage over the enemy team. And so I think this can be probably the most exciting change of Conquest so far.
So one of the things that we saw success with in Season 3 was doing some slight rekits of some existing gods over the course of the season, not just all at once. And so we'll probably be doing some more of that in Season 4.
So like we do with every season change, there will also be a large amount of god balance for this patch. And you'll find out more about that when the patch notes come out.
Season 4, we want you to be able to start how you want as far as your build. We want you to be able to take whichever god you want and play them where you want. And so we hope that pans out. We hope you enjoy it.
So the Season 4 patch is huge. We have tons of stuff coming out. We've been working really hard on it. I'm really excited for everyone to get to play it, and it's going to be awesome.
So one of our main goals of Season 4 was to improve the ranked experience. We wanted to get more players into ranked. We wanted more players having fun with ranked. So we're making a series of changes to try to improve this across the board.
The big changes are we want to kind of refresh the entire system so that, you know, we kind of revitalize the competitive side of Smite. So one of the things that we're doing to help with this is follow our esports a little bit more closely and have 3 split. Every split will allow you to gain rewards, and then there also will be an overarching reward system for people that play all year.
The whole goal of ranked is to make sure players have a place that they can go and show their skill level and constantly improve against like-minded opponents. So every single split, we're going to reset the rank ladder with a soft reset, and players can then get rewards at the end of the split, go into the next one, climb the ladder again, and it'll happen all over again.
One of the things that we want to do is add a number of new leaderboards to the game. We want you to be able to show how well you play with all the different gods that you play in ranks.
If you like playing Thanatos a lot, or if you like playing Ymir a lot, you can actually play those, and your ranking will be determined against other players who are playing that god, and you can see where you stack up against other players.
So one of the other things is we want to just do a total refresh of the league system's UI. We may move some things to the player profile, and we just want to simplify and make that section of the UI much more compelling and exciting.
The UI is going to be a little bit updated, so it's a little bit clearer who's picking, who's banning, and where you are in the banning stage. But we also have a new feature called bank time. So if you end up picking or banning quicker than the time you have allotted, then you'll be fine and you'll have access to all that time. But if you go over time, if you need some more time to discuss it with your team, you'll start getting into your bank time. So that means you'll have 90 seconds or 100 seconds extra to select gods and strategize and pick accordingly.
One of the things we want to do is remove promotion games. That was a big sticking spot for a lot of players.
Before, you had to basically get all the way up to your promotion game and then win 2 in a row, and that was a kind of an arbitrary wall that felt bad for a lot of our players. Your skill should be determined by if you can win games or lose games consistently, and if you're outperforming, not whether you can win 2 games in a row. And so promotion games are no longer in ranked play.
Kind of a sneak peek. We don't really have definite plans to have this in the first patch of the season, but very, very early in the season, we want to introduce new integrated voice. So we've been working on getting this in the beginning of the season. Among all these other changes that we're doing, we're still thinking about, you know, more things that we want to do, and we're gathering feedback from the pros and from, you know, from the community at large, and we're hoping to integrate as much of that as possible into Season 4. We're really excited about it. Yeah? That's
is
cool.
Is that really Season 4?
That's Season
all
4.
Season 4 stuff?
Oh, that's just the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
Crazy. Right, for you guys at home.
Good
anyway,
overview.
Just so you all know, this is Chris Larson and obviously AJ as well. They're going to be joining me for a little bit of a sneak talk about Season 4. Well, not really Season 4 because we do have a patch that comes just before that. And obviously Morrigan's in that, but we do have other things coming out too.
The Morrigan.
The Morrigan.
Sorry, the Morrigan.
The Morrigan coming out in 325.
I'm getting all kind of tweets about the Morrigan. Like, is she really called the Morrigan?
But the problem is like if you're playing casual games, then you can get 2 Morrigans. So is those Morrigans?
They are all the Morrigan.
Well, talking about skin cards, let's have a little look at some skin cards that may be available for you right about now. This will be available in the latest patch, which I believe, when's that one due out, boys?
Next week.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Okay.
So this one happens to be the final reward for the Celtic event.
Oh.
So if you conquer the Celtic board.
With the dice rolls and the
the dice rolling and the traps and the bonuses that you get, it's going to be really fun.
Awesome. So that's going to be part of that as well. We've also got some other skins, I believe, that are going to be available for this patch because the big difference for the fans at home and the fans here is understanding what's out now, as in the next patch, and what's going to be here around February with Season 4.
Yep. Right. Thank you, Hindu. So 325, which is coming out on Tuesday, has a lot of skins. It has the Morrigan, and it has the Morrigan event.
Mm-hmm.
All of the Season 4 stuff is not coming out until the next patch.
It's basically double patch day today.
Right.
Patch notes day is basically what we're doing.
We're getting
the whole day
peek of Season 4 patch notes.
Yeah.
Today.
We'll do a more involved one later.
The actual Season 4 patch show is going to go so long.
I was going to say,
get
because
ready.
this feels like if this is a sneak, that's going to be crazy if there's going to be more stuff on top. We do have a Hoagie skin as well. It's going to be available in the next patch for you as well. What's that one called?
Urakai.
Urakai, so orcish.
It's an he's an orcish Huyi, yeah. Orcish hunter Huyi. This one looks amazing. Really great effects.
Yeah, that looks
voice pack,
awesome.
really cool.
Yeah, I like the bones on the front of that. That's just a card art though, so I'll be excited to see exactly how that'll look in game.
Yes, we're only looking at card art today, but we'll have the full videos will be coming out with the skins and the effects.
Yeah, we've been a bit busy with some sort of event or something. That's
just a little bit.
The next skin's my favorite though.
Is it?
Well, not my. Well, it's my second
intro
favorite.
to the fans, then.
From this patch.
For this patch.
Intro it to everybody then.
Yeah.
What skin is it?
It's Eldritch Raw.
Eldritch Raw.
Yeah.
The card
That's pretty
looks
cool.
badass. I'm really excited to see what it looks like in game though too.
Ooh, this is one we've been wanting to do for a long time. Just a dark, badass Raw. Chuck really went kind of Cthulhu, otherworldly with it, and it's super badass.
Does the eye in the middle of his thing move?
I just saw that, yeah.
I mean, probably.
I think it does.
And the staff as well. It looks like the staff has got an eye inside it.
Knowing our artists lately, they're not skimping on anything.
And I believe there's one more.
Oh, there's many.
At least
but
one
we're not
more.
sure how many more we can look
I don't know how many more we can look at. We're going to find out. Raijin also is getting a skin in the next patch.
Drums out, baby.
Drums out. That's the actual skin name is
I
Drums
think the
Out.
crowd liked the sound of that one.
I could hear him. I could hear him.
Does he throw bananas as auto attacks?
What do you think?
I hope so. Like, that's the only dream.
He throws barrels for his ultimate.
Really?
Yes.
He just throws barrels, so it's like Donkey Kong style. That's crazy.
Yes.
It looks amazing.
Well, those are drums.
Drums. They're drums.
They're drums.
but they're wooden.
Okay,
wooden.
he said barrels, so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, they're drums.
You can see in his card art that's
Come
what
on,
they
AJ.
look like, and that's what he
they
throws.
do. They do look like drums as well. And I heard something, you wanted to say something about the voice pack on this one, Chris?
Yeah, the little controversy on this internally, but it's going to be impressive. It's a lot of monkey noises.
It's basically...
It's in monkey language.
Similar to the
Is that a
Kamazots
thing?
one.
Yeah. So if you're going to want to play this in ranked, I'd recommend using the default voice pack. But for
No,
casual
in
folk,
ranked you want to troll.
Well,
right?
okay, sure.
You're not a troll, but maybe a boar you want in ranks, and you're going to get one with the new Artemis skin
That's
also
true.
going to be
Yes.
available as well.
This is the Celtic Artemis skin. This is the one that will be available immediately upon activating the event. So even if you have Twitch Prime or you buy the event, you get this one immediately.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you get immediately with that skin as well.
Well,
There's
this
also-
one and Terra.
This one and Terra Celtic and a bunch of other things. Pedestal, loading frame, music theme.
And we did get to see them a little bit in game earlier on in some of the other things as well. But
Right, right.
if you like Ares, Ares is getting a skin as well. There's a lot of skins.
This is so
I like
good.
myself.
So many skins.
All these
Just
skins
whip
are
through
so
the
good.
skins and everyone's like, hey,
This
let's
one.
go.
This one.
Oh, the crowd like that
This is
one.
my favorite because
There was a few oohs there.
There's
Yeah.
a little bit of references here if you guys have played some other games. It's really cool. And the best thing about this one is his jump animation is a dodge roll.
Does he really dodge
He
roll?
leaps
Yeah.
forward and tumbles around, so you can really, be playing.
It's awesome.
Be playing another game inside Smite.
And do the flames come out of the shield as well? Out of them?
Oh, they're like blue souls that and the voice pack is really kind of dark and.
The art team is going crazy.
Yeah.
And that's just
They
skins
didn't
for
take
the
any
next patch.
vacation.
And
And
is
it's
there-
true, that's
is
true.
there more skins coming in Season 4 patch as well?
No, these are all These are all
for
325.
These are all 325.
But there's still more in Season 4, maybe?
Yes, Season 4 will have its own set of
You
skins.
guys have gone a bit crazy here for the last patch of the year then. Technically last patch of Season 3.
Right.
Yeah.
We're also redoing a bunch of
Overall.
masteries.
As you can see there with the Hou-Yi on your screen, he looks fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Little mods.
Hou-Yi, Ares, and Cabrakan, I think, are getting the masteries.
Wow, so we got new Ares skins as well. That'd be nice to see the new Ares one as well. But there is the card art for our lovely Lady Morrigan.
Morrigan Recolor.
The Morrigan.
This is the
You
Scarlet.
had it wrong there, AJ. The Morrigan.
I know, I messed up so many
Just
times.
fine,
I only have so many characters on Twitter, so I have to cut the.
And that's a recolor you said, yeah?
Yeah.
This is the Scarlet Sorcerer's Recolor, correct?
Awesome, looks fantastic. You guys should be excited at home. I know we're excited here. What are your favorite things though overall that you've managed to work on like for the Season 3, not the Season 4 stuff? What's your favorite card art, your favorite thing that you've got coming?
I mean, the Morrigan.
The Morrigan.
And I think her default model and her default card art is just so awesome. It's my favorite, big time.
Yourself?
Drums out.
Drums out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Drums out and Ares are close.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions.
Drums
for me,
out for Harambe.
Yep.
And that's pretty much all I've got for you here at the Smite World Championships. We'll be back after the break with more of the Smite World Championships.